work. As I mentioned before, this has been developed in cooperation with the industry of Costa Rica, and in her case was working with the Botanical Garden, a location that is in Turrialba, and she will talk about another product.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Katrina, and then my research is on a night in Costa Rica, key determinants of tourist satisfaction in a nocturnal wildlife destination. Okay, so what is this research about? When you think about a night in Costa Rica, if you go to Turrialba, there's basically nothing you can do outdoors at night.
This is a demonstration
of
Wirecast.
Botanical Garden is now offering this product. It's called Katia Natura Night Tour. It's a new tourism product we are developing. So imagine if I am a tourist and I go to Katia Botanical Garden at night, I may want to see bats, insects, owls, whatever I want to see. And then, however, these things might not be offered by Katia Botanical Garden.
This is a demonstration
of
Wirecast.
Between what tourists expect and what they actually offer in the Katia Botanical Garden. So it is important to have this research to help improve the quality before the tourism product really opens. So these are the pictures that we actually have during the free volunteer tours. Okay, so
this is a
first thing we need
demonstration
to know
of
what is
Wirecast.
tourist exploitation. So tourist exploitation is defined as performance of establishment, ideal performance, or desired performance. So previous research has shown that after tourists choose a destination, he or she will come up certain type of expectation. So you can see the left side is the image Disney promotes. In all the movie you can see. But this is the reality.
This is
so
a
you
demonstration
can see that
of Wirecast.
If I'm a tourist, I want this, and then this is the reality. Okay. So the next thing is we want to know what is tourist satisfaction. Tourist satisfaction is a key indicator for a destination's capacity to succeed by measuring experience. For example, the Disney thing, it's an experience thing when you stand there and watch the fireworks. And then the definition of tourist satisfaction is
a
the
demonstration
result of the
Wirecast.
interaction between a tourist experience and his or her expectation. So you can see that when the sum of his experience comparing to the expectation, for example, the expectation is here, and then his experience is very satisfied, that it costs gratification, then he is satisfied. If his experience comparing to his expectation, it results in the feeling of displeasure, then he is dissatisfied. So the research question, we want to incorporate the expectation of both sides, the tourist side and the tour operator, which is Katia Botanical side. So the first question is, what are the expectations of local tourism enterprises and managers in Katia Botanical Garden have for this night tour? And the second, what are the key determinants of tourist satisfaction?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So let's talk about Disney again. For Disney, maybe the key determinant will be how they do good or how they do bad on their fireworks. And so because each destination is unique, because we have different wildlife species, we have different climate, blah, 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 all these will determine and impact what are those very important attributes of this destination for tourist satisfaction.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And then the last one. So among these attributes, there are going to be attributes that tourists are satisfied or they are moderate satisfied, which means that the destination is doing fair. These attributes are fine and they are not causing dissatisfaction. And then there will be attributes that are causing dissatisfaction. So among these key determinants, what are the main focus to improve before this night tour opens? The methodology
This is a
part.
demonstration
So
of
in order
Wirecast.
to know the expectation from the tour operator side, we do interviews, and then for the tourist side, we do a comparison of expectation level and satisfaction level. So this is the formula of this methodology. So for example, we here have this attribute called adventurous atmosphere. And then the average score that tourists respond to our survey, for example,
This
is
is a demonstration of
2.88.
Wirecast.
And then the average score of tourist expectation is 2.54. So you use this 2.88 and then 2.54, you will see the comparison of their expectation level and satisfaction level. And this is how we collect the data. The data is collected in March 2017 by free volunteer night tours. And the questionnaire has two sections. The first section, what is your
This is a
general
demonstration of
expectation for a night
Wirecast.
tour? This is done before the tour begins. And then the second section is what is your satisfaction for Cartier Natura night tour? And then this is done after the night tour. So the result, so we can see that 3 means the highest score, which means that they are very satisfied. This part is satisfaction and this part is expectation. So we can see that both expectation
This is a
have high
demonstration of
scores between
Wirecast.
2.4 and 3, and the satisfaction also have achieved a high score between 2 and 3. So this red line here, indicates that the expectation and satisfaction has the same level. So you can see insect and basic infrastructure of the reception center are the attributes that customers survey that the expectation and satisfaction are almost on the same level.
This is a demonstration
On the
of
right
Wirecast.
Are the attributes that achieve higher satisfaction score compared to expectation score, which means that they are satisfied. And these attributes are tranquility and price in line with budgets. And on the left side are the attributes that customers are dissatisfied. So the first thing we can see that is we want to improve the quality of guidance.
This is a demonstration
one has a
of
very high
Wirecast.
expectation. And then if the tour guides in Cartier Botanical Garden are able to deliver a clear message for natural conservation, sustainable energy source, plants and culture, educational information, and safety, then all these attributes, the satisfaction level are going to rise together. The second one is that we want to develop an inventory list for natural attractions.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Basically, all the natural attractions, according to the result, the customer are dissatisfied. If we can have this inventory list to know exactly what we have, what we can offer, what story are we going to tell, which spot are certain animal going to show up, then it could not only improve our knowledge for the nightlife here in Botanical Garden, but also can improve the satisfaction level
This
of these
is a
tourists.
demonstration of Wirecast.
And then the last one, we want to provide a more friendlier environment for children and elderlies. So the red ones are those attributes that can improve with and by quality of guidance. Quality of guidance, safety, educational information, cultural significance, natural conservation, and sustainable energy source. And the yellow one are generally
a
we need a
demonstration
more
of
friendly
Wirecast.
environment for children and elderly. The green ones can be improved by developing an inventory list for natural attractions. And then these are other important informations we gained from the interviews. The first thing is that night tour market is smaller than the day tour market. The second thing is that the benchmark price comparing to all
This is a
the
demonstration
similar
of
tour
Wirecast.
operators, it's going to be under $30. The third one, paid customers are going to be more demanding than the customers we had on volunteer night tours. So having backup plans is important. For example, for rain punctual, what happens if it rains? What happens if we see no mammals? What happens if we see no reptile? So we need to have backup plans. And then the third one, we need to market the right
This is a demonstration
image
of
for
Wirecast.
Cartier, Natura Night Tour. This is important because when you market the right image, you can manage the tourist expectation. So they will have the correct expectation. For example, they will know that, okay, there are a lot of insects in Cartier Botanical Garden, and then we are going to see a lot of insects. And the limitation of this study, the first thing is that all the volunteer night tours are done with students. So basically,
This is a
the
demonstration of
result pretty much
Wirecast.
reflect the student perspective. It's not going to be able to reflect the opinion of other market segments, for example, like international groups, elderly, something like that. And then the service nature, because each tour has different tour guides, and then we saw different things. So this service nature impact what they expect and then what they are actually satisfied.
This is
And
a
then the third one is
demonstration
the
of
sample
Wirecast.
size. So we have totally 2 volunteer night tours for this research, and the sample size is small. It's only 29 surveys. So if this is also a future recommendation for future research, we want to have bigger sample size. So this is it. Thank you for your attention, and then you can ask a question or join a tour.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I have a question. How did you come up with the benchmark price that you mentioned for $30?
It's basically interview all the major tourism enterprise we have in Turrialba, and then they told me that so there are 2 types of tourists that come to Turrialba. One is the one that have really tight budget, and then another type is that they come here for a certain purpose. For example, canoe. They will just go canoe every day, or they will
This
go
is a demonstration
river
of
rafting.
Wirecast.
So for the high budget type of tourists, they usually it's kind of from their experience, and you cannot charge above $30. The enterprise told me that if you charge above $30, there's not going to be anyone going to buy it.
Can I give us a suggestion? If you have such a low price,
This
sometimes
is
it
a
makes it
demonstration
difficult
of
to even
Wirecast.
just pay the guide that needs to provide the tour.
Yes.
In a town such as Turrialba, where you don't have a lot of tourists, you have to consider the scenario where some nights you might just have 2 people or 3 people doing the night tour,
Yes.
and if you have to take out a commission from those $30 to pay one of the travel agencies, you might not even be able to pay the tour guide that has to be there to give the tour, right? So if you're looking at a tight
This
budget
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
profile, sometimes it might be easier to add value and increase the price by adding a lot of value into the package that you're selling. And if you increase the price and you add value, it's a better, like a combo, like McDonald's combo, for example. You know, it's a lot better to buy the combo if you separate out each of the items. You know, you buy kind of a package deal, so you could provide a better baseline to
This
give a
is a
better
demonstration
commission
of Wirecast.
to increase your revenues and provide a better experience. So maybe adding dinner, or maybe a snack,
Yes.
or adding a typical drink, or adding maybe something that you can, local artisanal, I don't know, bookmark or something like that. It might cost you $1, but you might be able to add $3 or $4 into the price tag by adding these little
This
details.
is a
Or
demonstration
little
of
bag
Wirecast.
something that Katia has, like cacao sample, which might even cost you cents. A little yute bag, which is super cheap.
It's always a good option, especially for night tours, because it's always an issue, because of the times and everything. If Kathy has the option to offer the dinner plus night.
And there are no other night tours. So if they want to do a night tour,
Then
that's it. So that gives you an
This
advantage
is a demonstration of
on,
Wirecast.
on setting the baseline for what a night tour in Turrialba is as you further develop the tour. Usually there's a common misconception across the world, not just Costa Rica, that selling cheaper is always easier. But a cheap price tag can sometimes mean a cheap tour. They're like, I don't want to go to a cheap tour.
But then, for example, a person told me that, okay, so
This is
so
a
I was
demonstration of
interviewing her, and then she was
Wirecast.
like, well, Manuel Antonio Park can charge 35 because they are much more popular and then they receive much more tourists. You're not like that. You cannot, like there's a benchmark.
I think in Turrialba, you have something that there is not in other destinations, plus than the insects and the wildlife. It's like the mystic part because of the volcano and the land and the Aboriginal region.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Something that you can add in case you don't see a mammal or something. There can be like a story or something about the mystic part of Turrialba.
Okay.
And in Manuel Antonio, to further develop your example, if the guide is walking with maybe 15, 20, 22 people at night, it makes it very, very different than if you're walking with 2 or 3 people.
Yes.
I mean, considering the size of the market that you have in Turrialba,
This is a
it's
demonstration
practically
of
gonna be a private
Wirecast.
tour almost every night. And if it's not a private tour, it's going to be 2 couples or 3 couples or something like that. It's really going to be super, super private, making it a lot more personalized, and the quality of the product that you offer is going to be a lot better. The guide is going to remember the name of every person. Maybe the guide can sit with them for dinner and create a more, a closer
This
relationship.
is a
with the people
demonstration
that
of
are visiting.
Wirecast.
And there's a lot of value in those experiences, and that's value that is not being perceived in the price tag. That's additional. It's not just, we had this tour guide. It's Sergio from this small town in Turrialba took me to the botanical garden. We had dinner together, and he told me about his family and how he became a tour guide. That authenticity adds a lot more value than just walking with 20 or 30 people.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Well, I'm gonna be definitely sure that she will introduce that, include that observations in her final report. Thank you very much for this information. Thank you, Katrina.
Thank you.
The live stream is
Katie.
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kathy. I was
Yep. Oh, it's way behind.
This is
Okay.
a demonstration of Wirecast.
So, our final participant and our final presentation today, this morning, is Katie. She's also from the United States, and she will take the topic on Global Ecotourism Network. So, Kathy, it's your audience.
This is a demonstration of
As
Wirecast.
Dr. Vargas mentioned, I had the pleasure of working with the Global Ecotourism Network this semester and studying the life cycle of nonprofit networks, specifically regarding GIN, as we will call the Global Ecotourism Network here. So we're going to start with the project background. GEN is a global ecotourism umbrella organization that was founded in 2015 by
This
the
is a
entire
demonstration of
advisory board
Wirecast.
of TIES, which is the International Ecotourism Society. Their resignation was due to financial transparency concerns, and with their resignation, they still believed that TIES was moving in a direction that wasn't what it was founded to do, and so that founding role of being a network of networks of sorts was where GEN wanted to step up and really take the lead. From
This
there,
is a
they're made up of
demonstration of
well-recognized
Wirecast.
professionals in ecotourism around the globe, so they definitely have that going for them. It's okay. So what this project's purpose was, initially I was contacted to develop a membership database or potential membership database for the organization. However, when I first started the process, I went to the literature and determined step one, create a target profile. Who are you wanting to be in your organization? There you
This
go
is a
to, okay,
demonstration
target
of
profile is
Wirecast.
based upon membership benefits. And then member benefits are based upon programs and services. Programs and services are rooted in the organizational strategy and structure. So as I was looking at these things, and really due to GEN's infancy, they don't have clear strategies or clear structure at this point. Sometimes it's even a little contradictory. So the first thing that I thought was why? Why is an organization that's been through their history at this point? And more importantly, how do we make sure that they're going to keep going, and what are the risks? So the specific research questions then became, in which stage is GEN currently functioning? And then at what foundational elements, if any, are missing from GEN? And then how can GEN successfully transition into this next stage? And then what are the major risks GEN faces, and how do they avoid those risks? To do this, I chose to examine GEN through a life cycle analysis. There we go. Okay. And so for specifically, the next one, please. So specifically, the GEN's unique foundation, they're a nonprofit technically, but since they want this organization, the network of networks is their ideal image, not necessarily, this nonprofit net life cycle wasn't perfect for it. So we used a lot of the small firm network life cycle. The biggest thing
This is a
in the difference in
demonstration of
these
Wirecast.
two, the nonprofit life cycle uses 7 stages. The small firm network uses 6. They do have this 7th element, but the 7th element is, they highly stress that it's not really a stage, it's a process that can really occur at any point. But the key thing here is, if you'll notice, in the small firm network, they have the opportunity to go into a decline, really, at any point. Not necessarily just at the maturity stage, which was what most of the life cycles really discussed.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
The hypothesis I had, which was basically, I was concerned GEN was in a decline already at its founding, but I didn't necessarily think that that meant the ultimate terminal, which is what most of the literature had indicated. So therefore, I used this system to emphasize really this cyclical effect that happens in life cycle stages, and that really highlights the possibility of the ebbs and flows of business.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay, so for the life cycle analysis, I really still used a lot of the terminology from the nonprofit life cycle. And the first thing I did was using the 5 elements from the nonprofits are programs, management, governance, resources, and systems. The nonprofit life cycle talks about diagnosing those, or using the diagnostic indicators and then performance indicators to understand where an organization lies within that cycle. And then using information from interviews, from internal and external information about GEN, and then from the previous interns' research, I was able to kind of analyze where they existed in terms of each one of those elements. From there, I'll save you the boring details of the research. I really just consolidated and validated the data in order to arrive at a real
This
process.
is a demonstration of
pinpoint
Wirecast.
stage. We'll go to the next one. So the results of this were the programs are currently, according to the diagnostic indicators, somewhere in between the idea and startup stage. Then your management was shown a clear decline stage. The governance had partially in the startup phase, and then they also showed that they were in somewhat of a decline as well. And then the resources and systems still showed that they were functioning in an idea stage.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Now, the performance analysis was really interesting because of the 92 performance indicators that were available on this analysis, Jen only fulfilled 3. And 2 of those were related to legal formalization of Jen. Did they get a legal tax declaration, and then did they create a board? They fulfilled both of those. The other one was related to the quality
This
of
is a
Jen's
demonstration
service
of
delivery.
Wirecast.
As I'll discuss later, with the professionalism, quality is not going to be an issue with these professionals that are recognized around the world for what they bring to the table. The bigger issue then became Jen lacks the clear strategy and structure that is necessary to achieve its mission. And then furthermore, the most important one to me was Jen's board members are not currently providing the necessary sweat equity.
This is a
And by sweat
demonstration
equity,
of
I mean
Wirecast.
putting in man hours and putting in the, sometimes that means just getting down and doing the work yourself kind of thing. It's required of the founding board members. Now, the board currently is acting as advisors rather than doers, and that's more indicative of what they did at TIES. They were an advisory board. They didn't have to start the foundation because it had already been in existence for about 10 years
This
by the time
is a
most of these
demonstration
guys
of
were on board.
Wirecast.
So that's the real key difference here is they need to move to an doer stage rather than the advisor stage. So this presented a more internal issue. If you know that you lack time and money, but yet time and money are the 2 most critical missing elements from the board members' involvement with the organization, how can Jen propose to solve this issue internally? While I can't offer
This is a
exact
demonstration of
information or
Wirecast.
solutions to this, most of the literature suggests some sort of restructuring process. Another thing that kind of brings all of this home, talking to the board, you have 2 issues that they mentioned, time and money, and then a lack of financing for the entire organization. The solution to this, the big key, is that it requires the work of several people instead of just one individual
This is a
person, which is
demonstration
pretty
of
much how it's
Wirecast.
functioning currently. Membership dues or fees is the most recommended way of financing or funding an organization like this in literature. However, Jen knows this and has been told this repeatedly, and they actually do not want to do membership fees for several reasons. But they'd rather use grants, endowments, and donations. However, my research
This is
and
a
my
demonstration
recommendations
of Wirecast.
looked at the fact that even to get these types of funding that they do want, it still requires extensive man hours that they just currently don't have. So what this all means for Jen is I've taken this information, created an action plan for them to get back to this initial membership database of potential target participants or members. To do this
This
the very
is a
first thing that
demonstration
they
of
have to do
Wirecast.
is address this lack of necessary time commitment from all of their board members. That needs to be done internally. The second thing that they need to do is establish a clear identity by developing a formal, detailed, and clear organizational strategy and structure. Essentially, they need a real business model, and they need it on paper where each person in the organization is able to know their role. The third thing is they need
This
to
is a
create clear
demonstration
profiles
of
of the
Wirecast.
target members by linking the benefits of the programs that they developed from this business model in step 2 to actual members' needs. And then the fourth thing is obviously to seek funding opportunities that do align with their mission and with their strategy and structure. And that's all I have for today. So does anyone have any questions? What's up?
When
This
you
is a
were
demonstration
doing your,
of Wirecast.
interviews with them, did you get a sense of how willing they are to put in that personal hard work, like, and time? I mean, they're all obviously pretty
Yes.
busy people, but
The thing is, they're all extremely busy. This is not their primary business objective. This is more of something they believe needs to be done because as all of them are practitioners to an extent in ecotourism around the world.
This
They
is a
have other
demonstration of
full-time jobs.
Wirecast.
So this does need to take a part-time role. Mentally, they have passion for ecotourism. They believe that Jen should exist. I don't believe that they understand the level of commitment it takes to start it versus
just keep it.
they will be wonderful at maintaining it, wonderful advisors, but they really need somebody to get in there and do. And that's right now.
This is a
Excuse me, they
demonstration
need
of
lots of
Wirecast.
somebodies to get in there and do, because right now they really only have the chairman doing. The estimates that I got were anywhere between 75 and 95% of the work is by himself right now. So, are there other questions?
How many members does Jen have right now?
Sorry.
No, I'm glad you said that.
Maybe it's a question.
So, officially members, it's only the board currently. That's part of the lack of clarity that I was discussing. If you
This
you go to
is a
their Facebook
demonstration
page,
of
they have roughly
Wirecast.
1,500 followers. Right now, that is their biggest outreach to people. That is their biggest base. Other than membership, that's really the only way to sign up right now is to join a request to join their Facebook group. They are actively participating in global events just coming up in a couple weeks. They are going to be participating in an ecotourism conference at the International Sustainable Tourism School in
This
the
is a
Philippines.
demonstration of
And
Wirecast.
they spoke at ITB recently. They just got a partnership that the UNEP says that we will, and the UNEP and the UNWTO are interested in partnering. But it's literally, that's the extent of the relationship. We are interested in partnering. We've accepted your application. Nothing else has moved on. And again, this official membership database doesn't exist. And that's where I started from. I don't know how to get
This
to a
is a
database without
demonstration
knowing
of
who I'm
Wirecast.
targeting. And it just kind of rolled from there. So this thing, and the board knows this, but I think they really needed, they kind of know this in between, if you read between the lines, but they needed someone to say it explicitly, and they need the action plan. They wanted that very much so. So, yeah.
I have a question from Ashley.
Sure.
Is asking.
Yeah.
She said, have they considered placing a call to
This
create a
is
board
a
for
demonstration
Gen
of
5 members?
Wirecast.
She said she knows in the Facebook groups there's high levels of collaboration and communication, and she thinks there would be a lot of volunteers from the membership interested in devoting time. And then, yeah, that she was surprised there weren't membership fees because she's gotten in touch with more people through that group than any other professional association.
So to defend them, their main primary reason for not wanting to do a membership fee, there's two primary
This
reasons.
is a
Number
demonstration
one
of
is
Wirecast.
their issue with ties. What happened? They had people backing out, big investors. It's not a sustainable model. If the membership renews annually and people have the option, oh, there's an economic downturn, I can't afford my membership due this year. Now, what does Jen do? Because our budget was dependent upon the membership. So they don't want a budget dependent upon membership. That's number one. Number two, because of their global structure, the U.S. dollar
This
means
is a
something
demonstration
in
of
the United
Wirecast.
States. It means something different in Costa Rica, and it really means something completely different in a lot of these more rural areas that ecotourism operates. If you, they have a strong partnership with the Asian Ecotourism Network. A lot of the same founding board members are on that organization, and a lot of their rural clients, a lot of their rural members don't have the $20 that it may cost for someone in the U.S. is nothing but $20 in
This
some of
is a
these rural
demonstration
destinations.
of
They can't
Wirecast.
do it, and it's until you tell them why, how they're going to really benefit, they're really not going to buy into that.
So what she's saying is she thinks that the membership would be willing to help out with these issues, like getting organization up and running, because, and she's saying if the membership doesn't, or the potential membership doesn't know they need help, they can't.
Right, and absolutely.
They're not gonna offer it.
To answer that question specifically, they,
This is a
according to the
demonstration of
literature and according to
Wirecast.
them, several of these foundational things are going, the idea stuff, the stuff that's supposed to happen at that stage has to come from this founding board. Not, it doesn't necessarily have to be a board in the sense of academic literature. It has to come from founding members. That happens to also be the board members. And so since they've been used to functioning in a board role, they haven't made this mind switch as, oh, we're also founding essentially a social enterprise, is what the
This
literature
is a
would
demonstration
technically
of
classify
Wirecast.
Jen as.
So they would have to make donations themselves.
And
back into
they're,
Jen,
and
so they can pay for a team that actually gets stuff done.
exactly, and right now, again, with the issue with ties, they're really reluctant to do that. Essentially what they would like to do is getting these gigs like the conference that they're doing coming up. They've done some consultancy work with some groups in Chile and things. Those kind of things are what they're hoping bring in the revenue that's able to really do the base of getting
This is
like
a
an
demonstration
executive
of
director at the top of
Wirecast.
their priority. But I think really, and the literature highly supports the fact that you can plan those kind of things, but until you really have the strategy and structure in place, you can't do a grant application until they're able to see those things. You can't reach out to members until they ask for those things. What are you bringing to the table? So that has to be the foundation before they can really move on successfully.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And I think it was a very exciting morning with a lot of interesting questions, but a lot of more questions to be answered. And that's why my last invitation here is to anyone who may have an idea of what kind of research our students could engage in the short run and in the long run. Or
This is a demonstration
project
of
that you already know
Wirecast.
and you just think that our students could make a good fit in this research project, please let us know and we will be more than happy to collaborate. And since now I will invite you for next year so that you can join us with the new cohorts who's coming here, and hopefully by the same, around the same week, the same month, the next year we're going to be here and presenting more research. Thank you very much, and bye-bye to the people
This
from the
is a
US
demonstration
and the
of
people who have been following
Wirecast.
us with the live stream. Okay, thank you very much.